There we go. Hello and welcome to Living and Loving Each Day, Bridging Barriers. My name is Sue Janzen. So all the way from up North Canada, because I know some of the people watching today are from the States. And I'm just happy to be with you. I'm a certified life and resilience coach. I was also a special education teacher. I'm a realtor specializing in accessible barrier-free homes. And my focus for this podcast is on bridging barriers. And so I'm talking to parents with kids with adaptive needs. I'm talking about and to adults with adaptive needs. And I also have their stories on my podcast. And finally, I have experts come on and talk about what services and information that they can provide to be of service to those people. So I just want to inspire, enlighten, and kind of bring everybody together. And I'm just really happy that you're here today. And I have a beautiful guest, and it's Mannette. I have to read it. Antill. Antill? Is it French?
Yes, yes, it
Sounds
is.
beautiful. Beautiful. I'm not French. I'm the Western Canada. I'm not the Eastern part. So, but that's
This
a
is from
beautiful.
a great grandmother. My family's been in the United States for some time, but she was from France.
Oh, from France. Yeah. See, we're so different. The French Canadian thinks that they're French, but and when they speak to somebody from France, so different, right? We know that, and I admit that. But a lot of the French Canadians on that side of Canada, they think that we're supposed to be speaking French, and we don't. We're Western Canada.
Well, I will tell you just real quickly, and
Yes,
fits
please.
fits
Welcome,
in
welcome, welcome.
because I'm a voice empowerment coach, but I've done a lot of voice work as an actor and doing accents and dialects.
Yes.
And there's really no such thing as an American dialect. It's all regional, right? I mean, nobody has. There's no such thing as a general American accent.
I guess
It's
unless you're First Nations, though, would that be considered
Well,
Aboriginal kind of?
I will tell you that even people from First Nations live in different regional parts of the United States.
That's right. And
So
Canada, yes, yes,
yeah, so their dialect is colored, right, by
yes.
the area of the country that in which they live. So yeah.
Right. Interesting.
So but
I mean, tell me about you. I want to hear about a little bit about you and what do
In terms of them connecting us up and we're together, I mean, I'm an actor. I was a lawyer for many years. I did act and danced when I was young. But I think a real connection is that um, I had I have five children. Two of my children are neurodivergent. My son had very serious early onset treatment resistant OCD, obsessive compulsive,
OCD, okay.
right? And he couldn't go through doors. He couldn't eat sometimes. He couldn't, it was very,
Yes.
it's very limiting.
Yes, it
He's
is. Yeah.
brilliant, which many people that have
Yeah.
these diagnoses are, but
Not the
very
frontal lobe we're talking. It's not the frontal lobe, it's other parts of the brain. That's correct.
right. And so what's interesting though is because I was to say I'd been a dancer and this kind of thing, and I pivoted in the 60s. That wasn't dancing and theater wasn't important. I had to do something important, right? I had to change the
Lord.
world. And so I went to law school. I did well. Sometimes you do well in things that aren't your passion. But by the time I realized I didn't like all this fighting all the time, and change and begin to have my children, I will tell you that my advocacy skills
Yes.
came very much
Mm.
to use because this was in the 80s and the 90s. It still is, but there was so little accommodation and
Mm.
understanding and willingness to go. And then, although there were, as I'm sure I don't have to tell you, special needs accommodations you could get, whether you were able to advocate for your child to get those
Hmm.
was a very difficult barrier.
Mm.
They were dealing with the barriers, often either with learning disabilities or just disabilities that kept them from being able to function in what was a normal environment.
I understand. I understand. Whatever that is, whatever normal is.
So I had to use my voice, right? I had to use my voice. And what my purpose is actually to empower people's voices to make change. because I did eventually, after I practiced law for over 20 years. Then I was home with my children. My youngest also had, ADHD and other comorbid difficulties very seriously. But when I decided to go back to doing something, I was attracted to go back to theater and to change voices and change hearts and minds.
Ah,
So I was going to make change with law, but I decided I could make change with affecting hearts and minds through theater and through,
little more passionate. Yes. Yeah.
right? But
Mhm.
then what I found is that my voice wasn't there for that.
Mm.
The other ways I had used my voice, I was always a microphone. I was a media spokesperson for the ACLU, and as I say, in law. But I would never had to really use my voice loud. And my mother, when I was like 4 years old, had told me, "Man, lower your voice." Little girls aren't supposed to have loud, powerful voices. And so I learned to lower my voice. And I lowered my voice down here. Now,
Mhm.
it's not an unpleasant voice, but it's not a confident voice.
Mhm.
It doesn't capture people's attention, right?
Oh, like a
Uh,
man's.
right? And so
Mhm.
when I was in corporate law, I got to bring my voice back up. When I was in the corporate boardroom, I would be part of the conversation. I would talk down here, and they would, yeah, and then not a minute after I said something, the man would say it, and they go, "Oh, what a good idea!" And I'd say, "That's what I just said," right? But after I learned to find out how to bring my voice up, how to my be powerful, I realized that clearly there was misogyny going on. Absolutely. No question. But that I had contributed to it
Mhm.
by the lack of power, confidence
Mhm.
that
Speaking
I
up.
had been able to
Mhm.
express with my voice,
Mhm.
and that I was not really in touch with myself. Because when you're not in touch, what we do, the way we go down was we armor, we become protected. We don't want to feel, we become protected. That
It's right here.
that limits us our connection to our voice, to ourselves, because we don't want to go there, and it limits our voice. Our
Mhm.
voice becomes constricted. And so once you start taking people and liberating their voice, they often find their voice, and they're able to connect fully to their passion and to advocate
Mhm.
for those, their family members or themselves,
Mhm.
who are facing barriers and
That's exactly.
need a powerful voice to make the change they need to
Mhm.
create the social justice, the economic and other inequity of access, and that
Just speaking up for themselves, just the self-care, right? The self, just speaking up, having the courage to do that, the confidence. Mhm.
yeah, higher than confidence, and you can actually find it through your body.
Mm.
And there's a wonderful book. It's her name is Candace Pratt. It's called Molecules of Emotion.
Ooh.
She was a psychopharmacologist, and she discovered the opiate receptor. But one of the things she talks about in her book is that all the synapses, all the neurotransmitters, dopamine, serotonin, the different hormones that we have in our head, we have in our gut. We feel in our gut. You don't feel love or hate or anything in your brain. You
No,
think those thoughts, but then your
emotion.
they send into your body. Like we say, that touched my heart,
Yeah.
because that's where you feel
We
it.
didn't go, I touched my heart.
No, we feel it. And that's why we say heart, because that's kind of where that feeling comes. We say, I have butterflies in my stomach, because that's exciting. It can also be fear. It can also be laughter. It can also be flirt. We feel it here. We feel it in our middle. It's already in. And then we say, that got me in the gut. That's where we feel it down, down. We feel it here,
Right.
right? Oh,
Right.
oh, right? Oh, oh, that's where we feel it, because
So
we feel this in our bodies, and we don't want to feel those feelings a lot. And so we'll just armor so we don't have to be connected. And
protect
so,
ourselves, right?
right. And, but that is also where our strength lies. And so we give up that strength and that power by cutting ourselves off from our
Mm. Hmm.
voice.
Voice is so powerful, so powerful. Yeah, I agree.
So as I say, I discovered this in drama school, and I worked a lot teaching. I just loved the voice work. I loved the voice work, and I performed and did a couple of awards. But I just was constantly drawn to this voice work and sharing it
Hmm.
and I taught a lot to actors.
Hmm.
But I became very aware because I'm actually a very political and engaged person in the world.
You're right,
That
left brain. I think you're both like right, left, right, because you're creative. I hear you. Yeah.
but I'm also, as I said, just like I went to, I need to be making, I want to make a difference. I feel it's my purpose to make a difference.
Mhm.
And so, and I can't, and with this voice work, it's something that, Shakespeare said, we're all actors, right? All the world's a stage,
We have a mask. We have the mask. Yeah.
right? But that we need, because actors have to be connected here and
Mm.
here to be really truly effective.
Authentic, exactly.
In fact, quite honestly, actors have less of a mask because they can't. It eliminates their authenticity. It eliminates their connection. It
It
eliminates
hides, right? Doesn't it hide it? Like,
hides them, and you
yeah,
can't feel it. So if you're gonna feel what they feel, and they're gonna communicate with you, they have to do this opening. They have to really.
exactly.
And so, and that everyone could use, we could all use those
Hmm.
abilities. So
I
that's what
talk.
I
Yeah, I
do.
teach I'm a singer. I'm a big band singer currently. I love my voice is still so good and it's better as I rehearse and as I practice. So I'm so glad. I won't tell you how old I am because but I love it. And so when I talk about confidence on camera and being confident on stage in front of an audience, that breath is so important and just the placement of the voice and all of those things that I know you know about. So it's just so powerful. And like you said, it's just a self-discovery and it's being you as authentic and being all of you, and putting everything into what you're offering the audience, right? It's not just, I'm so nervous, I'm gonna sing or talk over here. It's like, well, if you're being really that nervous, you're not thinking about your audience, you're thinking about you. So let's think
Right.
about the audience. What's the message that you want to share with everybody?
And you can also learn to trigger that relaxation response in your body,
Yes.
not allow this stuff to hijack,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
hijack. That can become the default place,
Mm.
but you have to create that through experience and through constant exploration and
Yes.
connection. I'll tell you what, so people ask when I say I'm a voice teacher, oh, do you teach singing? I said, I'm not a singing teacher, but what I teach contributes to the power of a singer's voice because
Right.
it's voice.
Right. Exactly.
uh,
It's fascinating. It really is. And one person can sing, three people can sing the same song, and you get three separate messages, all different messages, depending on how the singer sings it. So
exactly, Susan. So we think, we all go watch Shakespeare. Well, a number of we watch Shakespeare. We know the story, we know the characters, we know what's going to happen, but every time we see it, Hamlet is different. It's a different Hamlet. It's a different feeling. It's a different connection.
based on
So
where we are, right? It's actually from our understanding and where we are at the
what
time.
we are and how that actor connected
Yes, yes,
that story
exactly.
and how
Exactly.
they are communicating with us. And it's going to be different every time and hopefully different every night
Mm.
because you got to be there in the moment. That was singing too. You can't
Oh,
just
always.
always the same way. It's got
Well, you
to
never sing the song the same way. And after so many years, I was on the road for 5 years, then I kept singing for five more. And then you just do things on purpose just to shake it up a little bit, just to make it different, because you actually get tired of doing the same request. You're like, no, not again.
uh, well, it's like you think about actors who are on Broadway, they do 8 shows a week for months. And if you keep doing it the same way, it just gets dead. It will just be dead for you and dead for the audience. So,
So
and
true.
all of us, there's so many ways that the more it's more understood. If we're more in the moment in our lives, there's more richness. And it's the same way with our expression.
So true. So true. So Mannette, tell me how you like, what do you offer and how can people get in touch with you to find out more?
So my business and my website, I think is pretty easy to remember. It's called Your Voice Connection.
Mm.
That's it. And because that's how we connect with ourselves, with others. It's Your Voice Connection. So it's yourvoiceconnection.com.
.com, okay.
And on there, there's lots of opportunities to just let's connect and to make a call. And it's the initial call is just it's not a sales call. And in fact, I won't sell you anything on that call because I just want us to talk and find out what you're interested in about your voice, how you experience it, what you want to know, what you want to do. And then if we decide you want to do some work on that, then we'll schedule another call and work, but I'll answer your questions. I am offering your is that if they decide to go forward, I'm giving them a promotion code for a 50% discount on a course, uh,
Awesome.
and a free extra one-on-one assessment call.
Okay, so I'll remind my listeners to is there a code that we should do
No,
now?
what when they book the call,
Yeah.
I will give them the
Okay.
promotion
Good.
codes,
Good.
right?
So yeah, I
So,
understand. Yeah, and just yeah, and I'm sure when they go do the call, say I heard you on Living and Loving Each Day.
right, right,
Yeah,
exactly.
that would be
And
great for my listeners. I love that. Thank you very much. That's very generous. Appreciate that. So any final words about just breaking the barriers and just
well,
moving?
I do want to say one of the fundamental things I teach at the beginning is that your voice
Mhm.
is like a snowflake. There's no other voice on the planet that is like your voice.
Mm.
And scientists speculate that no one in the history of the world since humankind began to utter sound has your voice.
Wow.
It's like your fingerprints.
Yes.
It's like snowflake, the whorls of your ears. You know, we have a tongue print. Every part of our body is unique and different, and so is your voice. No one has your voice. You have the voice you need to fulfill the purpose that you've decided is for you. And you can learn to just enhance it and use it and learn to make it even more powerful.
Mm. So you just need the right direction. You need the right guidance and the right coaching. And Mannette, you're beautiful. You'd be a great. I can tell already. You're a great coach, and you'd be very empowering for people who are trying to discover their voice. So thank you very much for being here
Take
today.
care of the people themselves and others that deserve to have these barriers removed. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on Living and Loving Each Day, Bridging Barriers. And you can go to suejansen.ca. I'm up in Canada, and just to connect with me. So I'd love to hear from you. And Mannette, thank you so much for sharing with us today. That was lovely. I really appreciate you. And thanks for being here today. So thank you, everybody, for joining us.